Adolescent Development Teaching Assignment 2, Dylan's Case. My name is Bernard and my teammates are HARPREET, Dream and Vicky. We are going to talk about puberty. Puberty is the process of developing from childhood to a sexually mature adult, Hayward 2003. Puberty is the period of transition between childhood and adulthood, and the onset of puberty is controlled by the hypothalamus, which can be influenced by environmental, psychosocial, and endocrine factors, according to Alatoibi 2019. Adolescent period is marked by a robust physical and mental development, whereby full adult stature and mental capabilities are attained in an ideal situation. However, in certain instances, some people experience late maturity, and this comes with a number of challenges and issues for young people as they try to find their identity and role in the society. According to Akibol 2003, there is no set time for puberty and that it is a variable process. Dylan is a late maturing male whose academic performance has declined and his behavior has changed as well. His parents are concerned and contacted me as Dylan's here advisor seeking advice. We are going to uncover Dylan's developmental issues in three ways. 1. Biological issues, 2. Cognitive issues, and 3. Social issues. HARPREET will now talk about biological issues.
The first issue which we are discussing is the biological issue. Dylan is physically late maturing in comparison to his age-related peers. Biological changes are a central part of adolescence and emerging adults' development. Also, a biological hallmark of adolescent is robust development of the cortical and limbic circuits that leads to attainment of adult cognition, decision-making strategies, and social behavior. The biological issues arise due to the changes in hormonal functioning, biological characteristics, brain functioning, and the genetic basis of the development. JNEID et al. 2006. Puberty-related brain development may be partly responsible for the physical, behavioral, and social changes occurring. The endocrine system consists of glands in various parts of the body. These glands release chemicals called hormones in the blood, and these hormones are responsible for the development and functioning of the body. The hormonal changes of puberty begin in the hypothalamus, located in the lower part of the brain, ROTICH 2007. To initiate puberty, the hypothalamus begins to increase its production of gonadotropin-releasing hormone. The research indicates that this increase occurs once a threshold level of body fat is reached. However, if the fat in the body increases and once the threshold is reached, the increase in gonadotropin hormones is triggered in the hypothalamus. Fat cells produce a protein called leptin that provides signal to the brain. In case of Dylan, he was an excellent basketball player in his early years of high school. So, for such kind of adolescents who play sports, the puberty is delayed because the fat production is less in the body. ROTICH 2007. Due to late puberty, Dylan has less physical development because the physical growth starts when the puberty hits you. For late maturing male, the sexual and morphological characteristics are not at par with those of their peers, such as less masculine body, as is the case with Dylan. Due to late puberty, he is short in height than his peers. Then, the boys who are late maturing have higher rates of alcohol, substance use, delinquency, lower grades in school, and deviant behavior. Dylan, due to late maturation, is also showing poor performance in many of his subjects and is engaged in high-risk behaviors. RNEID 2007. This has also the potential of causing a number of social and psychological issues such as negative body image and being a victim of bullying. RNEID 2007. So due to hormonal imbalance and playing sports, Dylan has biological issues. This doesn't mean that he is abnormal. It is just the slower development.
Moving on to the cognitive development issues. According to researchers, being involved in high-risk behavior is a result of the imbalance of development between two systems, the socio-emotional system and the cognitive control system. This explains Dylan's impulsive high-risk behavior of smoking, stealing, and truanting. The early development of the socio-emotional system causes an increase of the oxytocin receptors, which heightens young people's attentiveness to social information. While the cognitive control system, which does not fully mature until early to mid-20s, is responsible for the regulation of emotions and impulse control. Its late development makes it hard for Dylan to control his emotions and manage his impulses. At last, we have the social development issues, mainly caused by Dylan's parents' behavior. They have high ambitions for him to receive a scholarship to attend at a prestigious university in the United States. Dylan, on the other hand, feels that he can't keep up with his parents' high expectations and fears that he might bring disappointment to them. As a result, he gets involved in high risk-taking behavior as a way to get attention and gain peer approval. In class, Dylan is no longer excelling in mathematics and his academic performance has declined. Possible causes of this would be that the teacher might have changed her teaching techniques and Dylan is having difficulties following up. Or maybe the content is too boring for Dylan. This can be explained by the cognitive load theory. The teacher might be adding extraneous load to her teaching by causing split attention, redundancy, or advanced learner saturation in Dylan's case. Vicky will now take us through the strategies that we can use to help Dylan.
We come up with 4 strategies to address the issues Dylan faced, including parental involvement, counseling Dylan directly, the enhancement of teachers' role, and the school-wide changes. Our intervention will improve Dylan's situation by facilitating the social and cognitive development. Since the slow biological development cannot be regarded as a disease or illness, there is no intervention supposed to affect Dylan's natural growth. As an ear advisor, the first step to assist Dylan is to meet with his parents, informing the current situation and behavioral changes of him, to remind his parents to work with positive emotion and well-being.
During the meeting, we need to emphasize the importance of teacher-family communication, where it's directly affected students' engagement in terms of home completion, on-task behavior, and class participation, according to Kraft's research. Moreover, as Luz and Dumas mentioned, students are able to differentiate parental academic monitoring from their support. An effective support is positively related to the mastery goals. In this sense, the regular meeting should be conducted between teacher and Dylan's parents with the aim of enhancing the supportive role of parents. Dylan's parents may lack of information about his changes, so that overly expected his performance. Karens and Gibbles also suggested that parents' use of inducive display can foster children's pro-social behavior. Given that Dylan's parents can be trained by teachers about how to encourage and motivate Dylan to improve other than force or press him to perform better, it could promote better academic performance and mental health at the meantime. One concern is that it may be difficult to design an optimal teacher-family communication interventions due to the effectiveness of the communicator and the context of the communication.
The next step is counseling Dylan. The parental expectation and the changes of peer relations may create certain mental pressure for him, so that as a counselor, we need to intervene early in the development of his difficulties. We will exercise our psychological and educational expertise to support him with academic success, social and emotional well-being, cognitive development, as stated by Australian State Territory. Such professional advices can give Dylan a thorough explanation and understanding of his internalizing problems.
Within the consultation, we also need to deliver the right way of self-talking for Dylan, in which to avoid automatic negative thoughts and encourage the performance-enhancing thoughts. It basically helps Dylan with enhancing growth mindset and positive thinking, being relieved from dilemma. For example, he is still perform well in drama courses, which may rebuild his confidence and self-esteem. However, Dylan may get intimidated and refuse to attend the session.
Then, we advise teachers to build positive teacher-student relationship with Dylan and align the teaching method to his case. To have a private conversation with Dylan and show the empathy and understanding of his situation is a good start to promote a supportive relationship with him in terms of creating safe and emotionally closed feeling. According to Chen, supportive relationships are characterized by trust, responsiveness, and involvement. Children who experience supportive relationships feel a sense of security that allows them to explore novel situations. In this case, Dylan will be more willing to share and express his feelings and concerns to his teacher and become open-minded to his problem.
In terms of teaching method, individual teacher can adopt collaborative teaching pedagogy, while to design classroom-based activities with the aim of enhancing classroom inclusion. In this case, Dylan is more likely to study in a small community in which have more opportunities to interact and communicate with peers. This can be matched to Vygotsky's philosophy of learning from the peers.
Dylan can learn in the zone of proximal development by developing new social skills and coping strategy. Peer group work is viewed as a scaffold to support Dylan and provide a context to perform in that zone. Leola and Goldsey point out that collaborative learning is benefits students from both social and cognitive development. Cooperation can develop the interpersonal skills and reduce anxiety, which can enhance a sense of belonging for Dylan in the classroom. However, the outcome of this method is highly dependent on the previous experience, attitude, and skill development of teachers.
Promoting positive school environment is the last step to assist Dylan. The Promoting Alternative Thinking Strategy curriculum is an effective approach to improve social and emotional competency for the students. Teachers are trained in interventions model and provided past lessons. Kelly suggests that past curriculum is a school-based emotional and social learning program that benefits students from emotion recognition, stress management, empathy, problem solving, or decision-making skills. The result has also proved its role in enhancing students' behavioral adjustment, that is, resilience, in the form of increased prosocial behaviors and reduced conduct problems. According to Bernard, social competency and problem-solving skills are important capacity for students to bounce back in spite of adversity. It also improves academic performance on achievement tests and grades. It's critical to help talent to rethink the initiatives of risk-taking behaviors and cope with the external pressures. Another example of school-wide changes towards Dylan's case is to develop new policies and procedures to reorganize school structure, and then institutes practices to encourage and support students' social and emotional development. Dulac has evaluated that such school-based reform can be incorporated into routine educational practices and do not require outside personnel for their effective delivery. It means that Dylan can be affected unconsciously by the positive and the supportive school environment with high integration and won't be distinguished from any others. However, the drawbacks are including a variety of efforts are needed to develop state and local capacity to encourage the evidence-based programming. Also, it's costly in evaluation the design. It may take a long time to see Dylan's changes, and the effect would be indirect and implicit to him. In conclusion, the timing of puberty can affect children in various ways. In Dylan's case, we've identified three main developmental issues caused by his late maturation, from biological, cognitive, and social perspectives. The coping strategies were involving a range of stakeholders around Dylan to either enhance their supportive roles or collaborate with each other.
Hello, my name is Bernard. I learned several important things in adolescent teaching and learning that are going to be very important in my career as a teacher. One of the things that I learned was about the cognitive load, where I learned about this extraneous load. That is the point at which the student stops learning and disengages from class, mainly because of three things. The first one is split attention, where a student is presented with two sources of information that are either temporarily or physically separated, and is expected to integrate them. The second thing is about redundancy, where a student is presented with two sources of the same information at the same time. And the third one is about advanced learner effect, where a learner is presented with instruction on how to do something they already know. And so now with this information about cognitive load, I'm now better equipped at teaching biology, especially teaching about graphs and interpretation of graphs. Previously, I would present with students with a graph on one page and its descriptions on another page. But now I know better, and I know that both the graph and its description should be integrated in the same graph for effective learning. Otherwise, that amounts to split attention, where my students would disengage and not learn anything, and therefore meaning that I fail at being an effective teacher.
In the first semester of Master of Teaching Secondary, in the unit of Adolescent Development and Teaching, I have learned about physical, social, emotional and cognitive development of adolescents. Moreover, I have also studied about adolescent risk behavior and various strategies to deal with the students who engage in risk-taking behavior. The various strategies such as meds, grip, building resilience, etc. In this unit, I have also learnt about my roles as a teacher. For example, my role as a counselor, as a curriculum planner, etc. In this unit, what was most useful to me was how to help students who engage in risk-taking behavior. The grip method influenced me the most because it is a very simple and useful method for all the teachers who can apply this method in their classrooms to deal with the students who engage in risk-taking behavior. The first step in this method is to gather information, look for signs and see if any support is needed. The second step is to respond. This can be done by talking to young persons who are involved in risk-taking behavior. The third step is to involve counselor and see if any progress is happening. The last step in this method is to promote a positive environment in the school. So overall, through this unit, I have learned about adolescence, adolescent development and risk-taking behavior, also about various strategies to deal with the students who involve in risk-taking behavior, and this knowledge is very useful and will be very useful in future in my career as a teacher.
Hi, my name is JNEID. My student's ID is 198278449. This unit has been one of the most interesting units for this semester. In adolescent development and teaching, I learned some very interesting facts about adolescents, their development, and how they learn. I learned that as teachers, we should not overwork our students' memory. Therefore, my instructions when explaining a task will be very precise and clear. And when not all students have the same competency, which is most often the case, I will give differentiated activities to avoid having advanced learner situation. Following Vygotsky's definition of zone of proximal development and scaffolding and how students learn from peers, I will also incorporate some group work activities and projects with guided instructions, especially since my KLA, which is science, allows it. I'll also focus on their mindfulness and find ways to help them by introducing them to apps like Smiling Mind, for example, and incorporating some brief 5 minutes mindfulness activities at the end of every lesson. Finally, I would like to add that this unit has affected me on a very personal level. Anxiety, stress, and panic attacks have been my constant companions for the past few years. Learning about the importance of mental health and well-being in the last few weeks of this unit helped me realize that I've always been overlooking my mental health issues. I learned that for me to be able to help my students best in the future, I need to work on myself first and change my mindset for the better. I've already started doing some mindfulness practices in my daily routine, like the breathing meditation and positive self-talk. Thank you.
In general, I've learned the background knowledge and coping skills about adolescent development in this unit. The main delivery is that I will develop positive education for the student by teaching the skills of both well-being and achievement. Given that to maintain the positive emotion and growth mindset could also be the way to facilitate students' academic achievement. The frameworks like self-determination theory and threat model provide me a detailed guidance and criteria about the well-being success. So in this case, I would like to teach students according to their strengths and interests, promoting high learning engagement.
Meanwhile, I should also track their emotion all the times and providing some meaningful and positive feedbacks to them, like praise for any efforts student made and encourage inclusive classroom participation. When I deal with the students who may emotionally or socially feeling bad at school, the parental and the professional involvement are needed. As I learned in this unit, children are actually experiencing different rate of changes during their puberty, which means that they may have varied needs and expectation in learning. As a teacher, this would affect my teaching philosophy that I need to personalize my teaching strategy to support students with different needs and difficulties. For example, the rate of cognitive development affects the memory and attention for the student, which is the critical part for Chinese language learning. For those students who are less developed in cognitive skills, may feel difficult to remember or memory the vocabulary or deal with the grammar. So that I need to allocate more resources and provide more support to them. Another example is that the student with well-developed social competency may good at the speaking of any language, because the socialization normally requires the strong communication and interpersonal skills. So at this time, I would like to build the confidence on the speaking part of language for the student, and then keep the passion and the interest for the whole Chinese language learning. It probably encourages the learning engagement and emotional well-being for the student.